Won't have to worry after that.
You just talk.
Then we'll all
Your
die of
audio is
something
not.
else.
So, okay, guys, let's 10 o'clock,
happening?
and we'll go into our meeting. I see Carl has got the slide up.
They can see you
for
because you
the,
have
for the pledge. And I guess, Steve, do you want to mute everybody and then,
just gonna mute it. So
Okay. Then you'll have to mute yourself.
yes.
I want to talk to you on mute.
Okay. Welcome to our meeting today. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I would ask that as we get close to your time to speak, you would unmute yourself. Remember to do that, like I just got reminded to do, which I normally forget. And if anybody does have any comments or they want to come into something, please raise your hand on the screen so we can see that your hand is raised. And as always, with the rise in cases and the situation as it is now, and they're talking about peaking in the next month and a half or so, let's pray or have a moment of reflection that we get through this again, and hopefully we'll see the leveling out, and if and when the vaccines do come available, that they work, and we'll be safe again. Okay, thank you. Carl got notice from Stan Pelter that Mort Johnson passed away in April, and we're just finding out now. And Morton was born on August 20th, 1920, and he passed away on April 6th. So he almost made the centenary and passed away at the age of 99. He signed up with the Army Infantry in 1942. After receiving training, he remained in the States as an infantry instructor for a year. He went on to the Officer Cadet School and reached the rank of second lieutenant and was shipped off as a replacement. He landed as a platoon leader in Okinawa on April 1st, 1945. He was wounded twice during his few months of combat and ended the war stationed in Hawaii. Morton was a SMAS member for 27 years. Does anybody know Morton or remember Morton, would like to say a few words? Okay. Doesn't look like we have anybody, so may his soul rest in peace. I don't have much to talk about. Voting for officers and directors next week, and you'll see the list in front of you. Bob, are you on with us? Bob, Luke?
Yes, I'm on. Nothing new. No one's contacted me. The officer and director nominations stand as is right now. So hopefully everybody will show up next week and you'll have your chance to to vote, or if you want to recommend someone else, nominate someone else, let me know.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, we're looking forward to that next week. Today's speaker is Stamford resident and native Mark Laurenti, who was the assistant, title was Assistant Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations in New York. And he's got, should have an interesting talk about the Department of Homeland Security as well as some of his experiences. And I hope everybody stays on. Our future programs, Mark Albertson, our good friend, is going to be talking with us, presenting on the trial of the 20th century, the Nuremberg trials. I vaguely, very vaguely remember hearing about them in the mid-late 40s and early 50s. And then on December 3rd, Robert Whitby will be talking on 6.5 of the 7 summits. There are 7 major peaks in each of the continents, and he reached the top of 6 of them and almost did the 7th. So it should be an interesting talk on his experiences climbing these peaks, mountains. And Steve Shaw will be talking about the new corporate bond investing playbook in the current situation. So that should be interesting for anybody that's investing in bonds. And if not, it's just good to know about what the bond market is as we move on. Then December 17th will be our last it'll be our last meeting of the year, and we'll have 2 weeks off for the holidays. Ira.
Good morning, everyone. We had 61 people attending last week. I trust that everybody has received the corrected minutes. And if there are no additional corrections or additions, I'm going to ask our acting president, Joe, to cast 1 vote of approval for the minutes.
I gladly cast 1 vote for the minutes, and between you and Lou, our minutes have been exceptional. You almost don't even have to come to a meeting to know what's going on. I want to thank both of you for the work that you've been doing with the minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, 9:20 discussion groups. Today was a lively discussion in spite of the fact that Joe had troubles showing his face. He had to call in due to his Wi-Fi being down. But it was an interesting discussion on current events, primarily the situation with regard to the virus and vaccines, etc. November 19th, Laurie Price will be leading the discussion on investing. The 26th, everybody's going to be eating turkey wherever they are, presumably in smaller groups than heretofore. December 3rd, Joe D comes back to speak on current events. Again, December 10th, Bob Butke on technology. And for the last discussion group, on the 17th, Joe D on investments. The following 2 dates are the eves of the holiday, and we are off. Next slide. Wednesdays, the walk in Waveney Park, I presume yesterday nobody showed up because of the weather. But if you can come, it's a great adventure. Get some good exercise, bring your spouses or significant others or friends. It'll be at Waveney next week, although I have found a couple of other places that might be of interest that I've recently walked, and I'll mention them to Carl. But if anybody else has a place, please get in touch with Carl.
Larry, the picture that you saw with all of those that showed up yesterday.
Oh, was that a current picture?
Yeah, it was.
I wasn't there.
And
Go
That
back
was-
to that picture, please, Carl. Oh. Okay. Who's that in shorts? And I see the Clancy.
John Cullen in shorts.
Oh, my.
And, there was-
Okay.
and we did a little something different. We, instead of walking around the Cove beach area, we walked to the bird sanctuary, and a beautiful hawk sitting up in a tree, and so a little something different. And then some people continued on after we got back from there, walked through the park. So
Actually, it was very well attended. We had the two more people, Bob Meyer and his wife, also attended. So that gave us a new total of 11 for this walk. So things are going very well. Word's getting around, and people are participating.
it's really great, guys. I mean, if you have the opportunity to show up, it's enjoyable. Nice camaraderie, and during the walk, everybody gets around to talking to somebody else during the walk, and really a pleasure. So
I might mention one potential place, Carl, you might want to check it out. Last, I think Sunday or Saturday, whenever that great weather was, my wife and I ate outside at the Crab Shell, and there's a boardwalk there that you can walk pretty far out into almost into where it enters into the Sound, where and it's a really nice walk along the waterfront there. So that would be another option of a place to walk. And also Irwin Park in New Canaan is another great place to walk. That's a more park-like setting and very interesting. So
All right, thanks for the suggestions. I'll check out the boardwalk especially and make sure it's not too crowded. Make sure it's appropriate for us.
okay, yeah,
all right, thank you.
that's it for me. I'm glad everybody had a good time. I could not be there yesterday. Carl, it's all yours for the next slide.
I'm losing my, for some reason I'm losing my, there we go. Okay. Distracted because my controls are not working. No change in the membership, so I wanted to move on to the next slide. There we go. As you're aware from the previous slides, last week's previous slides, that we are collecting dues starting with November 1st. And so far, I've collected 24 members have sent their dues in. I want to give a special thanks to Bob Schulte, who, although he's a life member, he's 95 years old, he sent us a check for $30 and wished us well. And as a tribute to Ira and Lou, which Joe indicated earlier, Bob said that he's been reading the minutes of meetings, and he's very happy to receive them in emails and keeping in touch, and he feels like he's connected. He looks forward to in-person meetings, but he's grateful for the minutes to enable him to keep touch.
Thank you, Carl.
Morning, everybody. Does anyone have any report concerning other members or themselves? to update us of good news, hopefully. And unfortunately, if there's any bad news,
Phil?
please let us know.
Phil,
Yes.
Howie Burslow calling. My grandson got early admission to college,
Hey, what college?
University of Oklahoma.
Far away.
Not when you're in Texas.
Oh, right. Is that where they live?
It's all relative.
Yes.
To be
That's
relevant.
that's an arch rival in football, that's for sure.
Bill Munko.
Any other good news?
Yes, here we go. My granddaughter just finished is finishing her second year of medical school, and she's going to be coming back home here and do some interning or whatever they do in either Norwalk or Danbury, which is kind of neat for us. We'll get to see her, but we're really proud of her.
It should be.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah. Good news.
Okay,
All right.
I guess Louis K has a new cell phone number and would love to hear from his friends at SMAS. So if anyone has a chance and knows Louis, give him a holler and say hello. He's just asking for it. Richard.
Good morning. We're into a very good book here with the Band of Brothers. It's a group of paratroopers who became very elite, performed some amazing adventures in Europe from D-Day on to the end when they captured Hitler. So I think we'll all enjoy it for December 2nd.
You want to just mention the other two books that are upcoming?
Sure, if you want. The Splendid and the Vile is going to be probably a revealing book to us with a lot of things about Churchill, although those of us who lived through the Second World War remember a little bit about Churchill. And then the final book on the list, The Kingdom of Ice, is by Hampton Sides, and we've read his book before, and that should be exciting. I don't really know much more about it than that, but that's a pretty good list. And if anybody else has books they want to add to the list for coming months after March, just email them to me. My information's right there on the slide. So happy reading.
Okay. Anybody have any items for discussion or anything they want to bring up? If so, please raise your hand. None. Unmute yourself if you have any jokes and raise your hand. Alan.
Good morning, everyone. Charles Dickens walks into a bar and orders a martini. The bartender asks, olive or twist? Olive or twist?
Okay. I hope you have another one.
I do. A leprechaun walks into a bar. The bartender serves him and says, that'll be $2.50. The leprechaun puts $2 bills on the bar and starts walking away. The bartender shouts, you're a little short. All right, that one was better. Huh?
Where's the
Yeah.
punchline?
There was one about the teacher that standing in front of the classroom asked the class if anybody feels that they're not bright. She was trying out a new psychology thing that she learned in grad school. Please stand up. And little Anthony stands up, of course, and teacher said to him, why, don't you feel that you're smart enough or bright enough? He says, oh, yeah, I certainly am. He says, but I just felt bad that I didn't want you standing up all by yourself.
Oh, well.
Okay, we still have some time until our
Anybody know
speaker.
the definition of politics? That it has its roots in Greek. That poly means many, and ticks means blood sucking.
Okay. Well, like I say, we still have some time before our speaker shows. So I know, Joe, if you want to continue the discussion from earlier, I know it was a few minutes that I caught. It was interesting. So you want to go back to that discussion?
Joe?
Joe, I'm Franco. I would like to tell everybody to go to pass by the new Veterans Park in downtown. It's beautiful. Alan, very well done. So I think everybody should go to see how they have done the work to commemorate veterans.
Yeah, that's been in the works for a number of years.
3 years.
I mean, it goes back at least until from when I was on the Park Commission that we approved it. So that's a good 3 years now. And Veterans Park, although it was in the middle of the city down there at Atlantic Street and Main Street, it was not the most desirable place. So downtown special services and the bank and Rexon, who owns the buildings, came together, and it was another public-private activity to transform Veterans Park into something that would be more safe, not attract the undesirable elements that were shooting up and drinking in the corner. So it's finally coming around, and Jack Halpert is here. And Jack, is it completed, or Steve? I don't know. You guys have been involved from the veterans standpoint.
I'm on the board, Joe. Alan's,
Alan, yeah, you guys are all involved with the.
I think it's just about done, isn't it?
No, it's not. There's more plans. They're going to have an educational aspect to it that they're going to tie in with the public schools. For those of you, you've got about 1 week that you can get down there and see the fountain running, because then we're going to be shutting it down for winter so it doesn't freeze. There are lots of plans to keep the park active and try to have activities there. Alan may want to say a few more things on it.
Yes, it was initiated by Pat Perry, the wife of Dr. Michael Perry, who's just spoke to us. Pat Perry lost her son in Afghanistan, Brian Bill, who was a Navy SEAL. And she started the project, you said about 3 years ago. No, this has been in the works for about 5 years from the paperwork forward, and construction itself probably started about 3 years ago. But they totally ripped up the old park and redesigned the new one. There's many more features to come. So we broke it down into phases. Right now, I think we're at about phase 3, and then there's 4 and 5 to come. And as you may know, the bank building is going to become a hotel. So that's going to affect the entranceway to the park. So there's a lot more phases to go, but the park itself should be, well, the COVID held up everything over the winter, but we're hoping that within the next year, it should be, the major portions of it should be completed. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. And speaking of veterans, I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate all our members who are veterans and served gallantly in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and I don't know if we have any members, unless they recently retired, who did anything in the desert, in the sand, but certainly want to thank you guys for your service and your dedication, and a lot of you still continue represent the veterans in the various veterans groups that are in Stamford. So thank you again on behalf of myself and the entire membership of the SMAS.
Larry here. There was a scathing report, speaking about veterans, on CBS News this morning about the VA hospital, and particularly in New Orleans, about traumatic brain injury. And apparently the VA is, or at least this particular hospital and some of the doctors that work there have totally buried the information that is needed to help the veterans there. And it is a horrible situation. And I was wondering, for those of you who are veterans and use the VA, how are your experiences been using VA services?
Yeah, Larry, Dave Kaplan here. I can speak to that. My experience has just been exceptionally positive. I've gone up to the West Haven facility a number of times over the years, and always gotten top-notch care. And the thing that a lot of people don't know is that most of the medical specialists, the doctors up there, their day job is with Yale Medical, and they support West Haven facility. So you're not getting second-rate doctors. The small clinic here in Stamford, I go to for a yearly checkup, get my shots there, flu shots, whatever. And I find them very, very good as well. So overall, no complaints. I might add one other point regarding Veterans Day. As some of you are aware, there was a Veterans Day ceremony this past Sunday at Veterans Park. It also was extremely well done. And Steve, it might be useful to send the link out because it was recorded, and there's a YouTube of the entire ceremony.
Yeah, I think I sent it out, but I'll send it out again.
Okay, very good.
Thanks. You should take a look at that CBS this morning if you can get it online. Just shows, really, their result has been totally opposite of yours. So, the more positive things I hear, the happier I am, certainly not being a veteran, but I think they.
Yeah, Larry, I
Yeah,
think the point, and I've seen studies elsewhere, is that the West Haven facility is considered one of the best in the country within the VA system. Certainly there are others that are not nearly as good.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in and back up David. I go to the West Haven VA also, and it is one of the finest medical facilities in the world to me. They have shuttle buses going back and forth between Yale and the West Haven VA all day long for doctors and for patients. Of my 3 heart operations, my second one was actually done at Yale. And I felt that I got better treatment from the nurses at the VA than I did at Yale. The VA, they have assigned anything for the veteran, and they really, really mean it. So I cannot praise them enough. They're absolutely the best.
Joe Jaquinto, you want to say something?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I concur with all those sentiments for the VA hospital in West Haven. They can't do enough for you. They're very caring and they're very good. And a lot of them are associated with Yale New Haven. And I went up there only about 3 years ago, even though I was technically not qualified according to some people years ago. It turns out that I am, because if you are a 6-monther, you do not qualify for benefits. But if you are active duty, you are. And I was recalled to active duty with the Berlin Wall. So I became activated and therefore I'm eligible. But to make a long story short, great hospital, and I recommend it highly for you veterans.
Thank you. And Dave, it's good to see you. Hope you're feeling well now, recovering.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm on the mend. No complaints, and happy to be here.
Good, thank you. God, thank you. All right, anybody else have any items they want to bring up? Certainly, we got about 15 minutes more.
Joe?
Yeah, Jack.
How is the collections going for the food bank? Anybody got an idea? I mean, now that you have nobody.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I don't know. Maybe if you would call Kate and see if they've gotten anything from our members. You know, it's not coming through us. It's going directly. You know, we've asked them to send it directly, either by check or online, and identify it as SMAS. So maybe if you want to give.
Okay, I didn't want to call her if someone was keeping in touch with her, but I'll give her a call.
Okay, thank you. And then I think in our next, let's continue to advertise it either by email and maybe continue to run a slide. I guess they're collecting right through the end of the year as their drive, right, Jack?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just continue that as a slide in our slide presentation, Carl, if you don't mind.
Joe?
Yeah.
Howie Breslow.
Yeah, Howie.
We had an online presentation something a while ago and didn't say anything about putting in SMAS. I just made a donation to them, but there's no SMAS credit. So I don't know how many other people might have done that too.
Same here, Howie and Joe.
There's a bird somewhere.
Well, what we asked, if you recall, Howie, we said when we put the slides up that if you donated online, there was a place there that you.
I'm talking about 3 months ago, Joe.
3 months ago, we didn't have anything.
A couple of months ago, we had a slide up about asking for the food bank.
Oh, maybe when we first started, but
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've been saying, if you send a check in, right? What we have been saying recently is if you send a check, right on the memo side that is from SMAS or a little note, and if you do it online, where it says in honor of or in memory of, you can put SMAS. So, I mean, that's been the latest that we've been doing.
Memory of SMS.
So, I mean, if it was
Joe?
earlier when we first started, we didn't even realize how we were doing it.
Yeah.
Joe, I believe our guest speaker has joined us.
Mark has come on.
I believe so.
Mark, are you with us?
Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, great.
All right.
Yeah, we've wound down and we were just waiting for you to come online. So if you are ready, let's go. I'll introduce you. And welcome to our weekly Zoom meeting. And Mark Laurenti, as I mentioned earlier, is a neighbor of mine. He lives up here off of Newfield Avenue. And I met him through his wife, Millie, who's serving on the Neighbors Committee for King's School. And Mark has graciously accepted the offer to make a presentation to us. Mark is the former assistant special agent in charge for the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI, in New York City. And he has over 38 years of management, investigatory, security, and brand protection experience in both the private and public sectors. During his federal law enforcement career, Mark was responsible for overseeing transnational criminal and civil investigations involving intellectual property rights